Imagine walking through a farmer's market with your daughter on her birthday, only to find her cornered and harassed by 6 strangers, screaming at her, judging her, demanding she obey grandparents she barely even knows. Now imagine finding out those strangers were sent by your ex-mother-in-law. The same woman who has been lying about you to an entire church. Well, this mom didn't just fight back. She exposed every dirty secret her ex's family tried to hide, and left them shamed, abandoned, and shunned in the very church they thought would protect them. If you've ever wished you could serve justice to someone who used lies and manipulation to hurt your family, this story is going to give you chills. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more revenge stories every week, and stick around, because this is one of the most emotionally satisfying paybacks you'll ever hear. I'm a 46-year-old single mom with 2 daughters, ages 17 and 15. Their father, my ex-husband, passed away last year in an accident. And while you might expect tragedy to bring families together, in my case, it ripped everything wide open. Why? Because when my ex died, every hidden betrayal, every buried lie came crawling out. See, he hadn't just been unfaithful. He had a full-blown affair. And from that affair came 2 baby boys. His mistress died too, leaving those boys orphans. My daughters were the ones who had discovered his cheating in the first place. They carried that trauma, the heartbreak of knowing their dad wasn't the man they thought he was. And then, to make things worse, his parents, my ex-in-laws, decided to make my girls responsible for the aftermath. They tried to push for custody of my daughters. They wanted to force their way into my home. And when I pushed back, they didn't take it quietly. No, they escalated. Now, where we live, there's this weekend farmer's market. Fresh produce, meats, handmade crafts. The kind of place you go for peace and normalcy. On my youngest's birthday, I gave her some money and told her she could buy whatever treats she wanted. It was supposed to be fun. A little freedom, a little indulgence. But an hour passed, and she didn't come back. Just as I pulled out my phone to call her, she called me first. Crying. Her voice broke my heart. "Mom, some people cornered me. They won't let me leave." Ran. My oldest ran with me. And when we found her, my blood ran cold. 6 older women, church ladies, had surrounded my 15-year-old daughter. They weren't just lecturing. They were berating her. Yelling at her for abandoning her grandparents, demanding she be a good Christian and embrace her poor orphan baby brothers. My daughter, who already carried the scars of her father's betrayal, was now being attacked in public on her birthday by strangers. Snap. I shoved my way between them and my child. I told my oldest to pay for the sweets and get both girls to the car. And then I turned on those women. I recognized some of them from my ex-in-law's church. I let them have it. They fired back, telling me I was a bad Christian wife for not obeying my husband's parents. They said I should be ashamed for not raising children that respected their elders. The shouting got so loud we were kicked out of the market. And those women, they followed me to my car like vultures circling prey. I drove off shaking, my daughters crying in the back seat, my heart pounding with rage. That night, after my girls went to bed, I called a friend who still attended that church. And what he told me made my blood boil. My ex-mother-in-law had posted a dramatic sob story in the church's Facebook group. According to her, she and her husband were penniless, abandoned, and heartbroken because I had stolen their granddaughters and left them homeless. She said the 2 baby boys, my ex's affair children, had been taken from them because of me. She painted me as the villain, and herself as the poor, suffering saint. But the worst part, she spun an outrageous lie about the affair itself. Instead of admitting her son cheated, she claimed the other woman was our surrogate, and that I rejected the babies because they were boys. It was sick. And the church. They bought it. They pitied her. They believed her. And some of those women who harassed my daughter, they were acting on that pity. That was my breaking point. Here's the thing. I had been mid-divorce when my ex died, which meant I had evidence, proof of everything. And because the divorce wasn't finalized, I could release it all without legal backlash. So I got to work. I printed high-quality copies of everything. Photos of my ex with his mistress. Text messages proving the affair. Messages from his parents encouraging the cheating. Harassment messages they had sent me during the divorce. And the most damning of all, messages where they bullied my daughters. Messages where they called my girls bastards. Messages blaming them for their father's death because they had exposed his affair. This wasn't just cruel. This was unforgivable. I put it all together in binders that looked exactly like the church's hymn packets. On the very first page, a glossy, full-color photo of my ex making out with his mistress. Below it, their names with the title, A Love Story. It was my coup de grace. The next Sunday I walked into that church. I didn't need to stay for the sermon. I only needed to make a delivery. At the back of the church sat a desk stacked with hymnals for anyone who forgot their own. I slid my binders right into the pile, perfectly disguised. And then I left. What happened next spread like wildfire. By the end of that service, the gossip mill was in overdrive. Members flipped through what they thought were hymnals, only to find photographic proof of adultery, lies, and hypocrisy. My ex and his mistress were branded in the harshest terms. The pastor himself had to step in to keep comments from spiraling into full-blown scandal. But the truth was out. People turned on my ex-in-laws. They were furious, not only for the lies but for the cruelty toward my daughters. The fallout was swift. My ex-in-laws were shamed so badly they couldn't even show their faces. Eventually they left the church entirely. Meanwhile, my daughters and I received apology letters from members who admitted they had been misled. We were even invited back to the church for support. Did I accept? No. Because forgiveness doesn't erase trauma. But seeing my daughters' names cleared, seeing the truth win out, it was healing. As for my ex-mother-in-law, she took to Facebook again, this time whining about being abandoned by her community. She complained that no one cared for the elderly anymore. She wished her great son was alive to take care of her. But here's the thing, her son never took care of her. And the money she bragged about losing, that wasn't hers. My ex left his accounts and life insurance to his parents, not our daughters. I was the breadwinner, not him. In the end, all her lies only isolated her further. When people weaponize religion or community to manipulate others, they forget one thing. The truth always finds a way out. My daughters deserved protection, not harassment. And while revenge doesn't erase what we've been through, it gave them something they desperately needed. Proof that the villains in their story weren't them. It was the people who tried to rewrite reality for their own gain. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and let me know in the comments. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? And don't forget, subscribe for more stories of justice served, because sometimes the sweetest revenge is simply the truth in plain sight.